Hello, this is Professor Kim Nelson with the Jewelry Design Department at the National Institute of Technology, doing another tutorial. This tutorial is for JD 238, basically in support of drafting. We're going to draft and then model a marquee stone. Okay? So, to start, I'll draw the marquee. I'm going to draw a marquee that is 10 by 5 millimeters. So I'm going to bring in some reference curves to get the dimensions properly. Start one circle at 10 millimeters diameter, another one at 5. I'm going to draw an arc, end, and middle. Turn off grid snap, turn on quad snap. This is the long dimension, this is the width. Do the same thing for the other side. I can remove those construction lines showing these together. As we know from before, when I do the table's 53%, so I'm going to scale with a copy around 0.53. Enter. It's the wrong shape because it's a scale instead of an offset, but it's the appropriate proportion. So I'm going to offset the outside girdle and split the difference in width and length until I get a nice shape and size for the table reference. I need to have a midline reference as well. I'm going to use the quadrants. Turned off the grid there. I'm going to do offset curve, through point, mid, to catch the middle of that. So far this should look very similar to what we did with the round brilliant. I'm going to divide the curves into 16 segments, transform tab, point tool, right click to divide by number, end snap, so that I can drag these arrows up to the end. If it looks like the end but you're not sure, pull it away and then bring it back. Press enter when done. I want 16, which is already there. I'll type it in again just to be thorough. And there we go. Okay. These are all construction lines really, so reference curves, so I'll put them on a different layer. Alright, I'm going to start drawing facets. First facet I'm going to draw is my table. With both marquees and pairs, your table always starts at the point. Skip every other point, the dividing points that we drew. Okay, that is the table. Stars, table, point, skipping every other reference point as we go. Bezel facets, once again at the point of the stone. Star facet, girdle, star facet, girdle, star facet, girdle, star facet, girdle. Okay? Now, I'm done with my points. I can delete them. Select. Looks like popcorn on the button. Delete. I am going to change this a little bit because this is too flat. So I'm going to turn on these two, and actually I shouldn't have thrown away those points. Bring them back, undo. Sorry, because I still needed to draw the girdle. I'm going to draw my girdle. Every point, and in fact I'm only going to draw the girdle down to here. There we go. Enter. Now I'm going to remove the points. And I'm only going to need half of these, so I'm going to explode them. Deselect these two curves that join the top and bottom. Rejoin. Going to throw these away. Throw this away. Okay. Going to throw this outer. I'll leave it for now. Okay, so I want to adjust this. I'm going to turn on all of these curves and F10 to turn on the control points. I'm going to drag a window because there's several points in one place here. I want to drag a window, so I'm a window select, so I'm sure I get all of the points. move. Remember, window select is upper left to lower right. If I did it the other direction, I would select everything I touch. I don't want to do that. I want to do a regular window, upper left to lower right. That'll select just all of those points that I caught. I'm going to use point snap to grab them. I'm going to use near snap to slide them along this reference curve. I want an angle that comes pleasingly off this and over. That's good. Okay. Now when I did that, I've changed the proportion of this facet. So I'm going to grab the point, once again with the window snap, point snap to grab it, near snap, and actually I need to turn on the points for the table as well. In fact, I'm going to turn on the points for the girdle also, just so I have points on for everything that's a facet. Drag a selection around that, move with point snap, use near snap. And what I'm trying to do is just to balance out those two star facets in size. That's better. Okay. This is going to be a little unusual how that falls down there, so I'm going to grab that, move, point, near. I'm right clicking each time I do this to deselect everything else and select only the object snap I want. That's because I'm trying to be precise. I want to make sure that I'm only on the point or I'm only on near. If I had them both active, I could make mistakes that I can't afford to make. Okay. The last thing I have to draw from the point here to there is that dividing line and this dividing line. I'm going to look at those as well. I'm going to turn the points on for them, F10. It won't look any different, but now the control points are active. I'm going to drag a window around all of those. Point snap, near, until I get a little better angle. Same thing here. Point snap, near. Done. Now I no longer need these. I really can't use, I'm going to explode this and use right. I did a crossing selection holding down the control key to extract those from the selection. I'm going to join those two that are still selected. I'm going to throw everything else away here. Notice the effective use of crossing selection there to grab a lot of information at once. I'm going to use mirror from side to side, from top to bottom. And that's my stone. I want to join these together in a way that makes sense for what I'm going to be doing next. So that's my table. These are my stars. These are my bezels. And I'm joining these together. That's my girdle. Okay, that's the top view of my stone completed. All right, I need to create the same thing for the bottom view. Copy using grid snap. Only thing I want to keep from here is the girdle. Okay. I'm going to make my life a little bit easy here and just make some construction lines coming from every point of the girdle into the culet of the center, which is 0. Save myself some time and mirror those around. And mirror from side to side. Okay, so that gives me my starting point there. All right, I'm going to have a main facet that repeats the same shape as this bezel facet. So I'm going to get a poly curve. I'm going to need end snap and mid snap. I might use intersect, so I'll select those three. End, mid, end, mid, end. Same thing here. End, mid, end, mid, end. Same thing here. And that's really it. I'm actually going to explode this because I don't need those two. Join the two that are selected back together. And same thing here. I'm going to explode that. Take this out. Join it back together. Delete. Okay. I want to trim away the end of this green line that I have here. Actually, instead of doing that, I'm just going to draw it to what I want in white, right on top of it. End, int, end, int. Then I'm going to select all the green, right-click on this color box, select objects, delete. There. I'm going to mirror this around first. Vertical. Then horizontal. That's the bottom of the stone. Now I need to draw a side view. Okay, I'm going to use my construction line again. 0 for the middle of the line, both sides option, D enter, pull it over, that's my construction line. I'm going to do the same thing going down the middle. Both sides, holding shift key to constrict ortho. Now I can turn off my, well, actually I'll leave the grid on for one more minute. Going to, no I won't, I don't want it, turn it off. Going to do an offset. Going to offset the curve to where I want to put the girdle. I want the girdle about right here. Okay. Now I want this to be the height of the crown. The crown is 16% of the smallest dimension, 16.2%. The smallest dimension on this is 5 millimeters. Okay, so that did not work for me. Oh, there we go. Nope, it's going to give me that no matter what. Okay, I tried to cheat. Rhino won't let me. I need a calculator. By the way, you have a calculator in Rhino. Tools, calculator. So you have it here as well. So 5 times 0.162, except for I'm typing in the command line, I don't mean to. Oh, it's going to go there, I have to use the buttons. Okay, I hate that. I'm going back to the Windows calculator. Okay, 5 times 0.162. It's 0.81. So I will offset this curve to 0.81. Pavilion is 43.1%, so I'll get my calculator back. 5 times 0.431, 2.155. That's the depth of my stone. Okay. I would like to have my top view back down here instead of the bottom view. So to do that, I'm just going to mirror it across this point. That'll flip them. Now here's the thing. If I do this, I'm going to have a lot of stuff on top of each other. If I hit copy equals no, it'll mirror them without copying. Okay. So offset, through point both sides. I need my table dimension. And I need the full length of my stone. Now I can draw a loose profile of my stone. Intersect, 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 intersect. That's a loose profile of it. Now I need to draft the rest of the information over. I'm going to remove these construction lines. I'm going to remove anything that is not my girdle right here. Okay, so I'm going to bring a construction line over for every point on the table that I need to draw my star facets. So I already have this. I don't have this. Okay. Now what I'm doing is I'm clicking, holding down ortho, okay? And when it reaches an obstacle like this one, it'll actually I can actually click it where it intersects. So I can make a very clean little construction line. Okay, that's the only information I don't already have. This point is here. This point is the full length. So I only needed this one. Now I need to have the same location at the halfway point, okay, between the girdle and the table. It's hard to be really precise with this. I've tried several ways over the years. It's just going to be sufficient for us to go mid for our purposes. Halfway down. Okay? And then we're going to plot the points of the stars. Okay? I'm going to be using mirror, so I don't need more than that. I can draw my star facets now. Intersect, table, halfway, table, halfway, table. Enter when done. Okay? Alright, now I need to put the points for my bezel facets. And those go to the girdle. And I really only have one because I already have this information from my main construction line. So using my polyline, I draw my bezel facets. Okay. Now I'm going to divide for my upper girdle facets. Don't need that anymore. And actually I don't need to bring down any construction lines. I can see what I need from what I already have. Well, actually no, I do. I need the divisions along the girdle. Here, holding Shift key till it contacts with intersect, and here, holding Shift key. Line tool, dividing lines. Okay. Okay, now I want to draw the pavilion. I can bring this around. I guess I will. It'll be easier for you to follow. So I will mirror again without the copy option. Swing this around so I have it to use to draw the bottom side of this. Okay. Once again, a simple half line will work. Halfway down the pavilion. Using mid snap. Okay. And I'm going to bring my information over. I need it. Now this is the girdle. So you're working from the outside is now the high line, the highest point, and the middle is now the lowest, whereas out for this portion, the girdle was at the bottom, the table was at the top. Now the girdle is at the top, and the cuvit's at the bottom. So it takes a minute to think your way through it, okay? So the girdle divisions I already have. All I need are divisions on the halfway line. And those are at the hip, or the cleft right here on these main facets. And there are two of them. Okay? It's the only information I'm going to need because these line up with the star, with the with the bezel facets up above. So that's the point. That's this point. Okay. And then the hip is actually yeah. I am confused. It happens. Okay, it's here. Okay, coming from here to here, here to here, to the culet, back up to here, back up to the girdle. Okay, same thing here. I only just need that one piece, and same thing here. Star. I mean bezel. I keep using the wrong words. I'm sorry. It's late. Main facet. It's the same as a bezel facet, but on the Pavilion. Main facet. Main facet. Okay. I don't need any construction lines to draw my division lines on the lower girdle facets. I can delete my construction line. Okay. I can go ahead and make this same color as the drawing layer, and I can mirror everything from this side vertically over. Oh, except for I gotta make sure I turn copy back on. Copy equals yes. And that, except for my girdle, which I'll just draw in. My girdle was a construction line, but I can draw it back in. There. Okay, that's my marquee stone. Okay, the depth on the Pavilion seems a little shallow to me. I am doubting it a little bit. I'm going to use my dimensioning. How do I use dimension? Linear dimension. End to end. It's 2.97. Okay. It's supposed to be, oh, sorry. Now here's a problem, okay? Because if I do that, it's going to measure the wrong direction. So to prepare for the dimension, I'm actually going to draw a construction here that allows me to have 2 points in a straight line. I'm just doing this to show you the dimension, okay? How to dimension it, okay? So that would be your dimension right there. If I didn't like the number being inside of the brackets like this, I would turn on the control points, F10, okay? Actually, no, I wouldn't do that. I would explode it. Or ungroup. Nope, explode. Okay. Nope, can't do that either. Yeah, I was right. It's F10. Okay. This will allow you to move certain elements. If you grab that control point, you can actually use Shift key to move it ortho. You can put the numbers outside of the arrow. Okay. The fast way to do that, of course, would have been to analyze distance straight down. 2.155 millimeters. Okay. So, let's double check that that is correct, what we should have. 5 times 0.431. Yes, it is correct. All right. So there's my drawing of my stone. Grid back on. Okay. Time to move on to the next part of the tutorial. I'm going to model the stone. To do that, I'm going to put my views into position. I'm going to move my side view. I'm going to group it first, so it's easy to select. I'm going to move it from the girdle line into the center. I'm going to rotate it so that it stands up like this, and to do that I need the front C-plane. So I have my steering wheel in the proper position, 0. It's laying that way now, so I click and then I'm going to hold down the Shift key to constrain ortho and rotate it up. I could also have typed in 90 degrees. I'm going to put that on a different colored layer. I'm going to lock it. Okay. I need to move my table into position, so I'm going to actually make a copy. End to end. Okay, so I have my table in position. I have my girdle in position. Okay. What I want to do now is I want to extrude my 4 main facets of the stone, or 8 main facets, which are going to be the same as the mains here and the pairs here. Boy, my vocabulary is terrible. Bezels here. Okay. So I need some 3-dimensional information to allow me to do that. Okay. Going to put this on a fresh layer. Turn this off. Going to grab this out. Going to control out of the clipboard, paste it back in, group it and hide it. And I'm going to select it again, deselect the girdle, and delete everything on the inside. Okay. I want this information to come over here, copy, paste it, move it, using grid snap. So I have a copy of that information. I need straight lines to do my extrusions for my main planes. I'm going to create those with starting with a straight line. Turn off grid snap. That straight line is from point to point where each one of these bezel facets would be. Okay? Then I'm going to extrude them until they intersect each other. And that's going to be my biggest challenge. Okay? The way I'm going to do it, pick a good color that we can see. I'm going to extrude. Now this one's easy, because remember, extrusions happen perpendicular to the current C-plane. So if I make that the right C-plane, and I extrude straight, I'll be in good shape. The rest are going to be trickier. If I hit extrude now, it has no idea where to go. I want it to go in a certain direction. So I'm going to pick direction. I'm going to pick the intersection where those two bezels meet and where those two bezels meet. Pull it out until it intersects the other one. Okay, this one is easy to do because it's the same as the front C-plane. So extrude it. And we have our basic planes for the crown of the stone. I'm going to mirror these two over. And I'm going to trim. Okay, so I've got half of it. Okay, to actually draw the bezel facet, I'm going to draw directly on that surface. End, mid, mid, end. Trim. Same thing here. End, mid, end. And that was an intersect. I don't want to intersect. End, mid, end, mid, and trim. Okay. I'm going to mirror this one over, just so I can draw directly on this facet. End, 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 end. Yeah, it seemed to go crazy there. Put it on a frame so I can see better. End, 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 end. Trim. Okay. I'm just going to mirror the finished facets around. Okay, three-sided objects are always possible to make into a planar surface. To make that easy around here, I'm actually going to make a flat planar surface out of the girdle, just so I can use its edges as curves. Okay. I do need to put some curves, additional curves in from here to here. Now this is going to seem very strange. I'm not sure I'm going to like what I've got there. I know I'm not going to like what I've got there, and that's going to be a problem. Because the challenge is that to change anything, I have to change the angles of those initial planes. So, going back, undoing. I don't want this to be as narrow here as it is, so I am going to do a .3D rotate. Right click on rotate, asks for a rotation axis, end to end. I think I like that better. Okay, I can't use it because rotating it actually made it a little bit crazy, but I can use it as a directional item. So going back to my extrusion, direction, need to project my thing to the C-plane so that it doesn't give me a slanted surface. But that should approximate what I had there. Through a little more. That should give me a little more width. Boy, I don't know. Okay. Another way I can approach this, because that's not giving me what I want. Curve, line, end. I don't want projecting. Both sides. I want it to flare out more this way, so I'm going to actually take it right to that original corner. Extrude. Direction. Yes, that's better. Okay, so trim again. Okay. Drawing on that facet. Polyline. Mid. And trim away. Mirror it across. Use it to draw the triangle, quadrangle. Lozenge shape at the front. Use that to trim away the rest of the surface. I do like that better, but it's still causing the same difficulty here. Okay, for now, I'm going to let that be. I'll address it in a minute. Mirror these over. I need to draw the shape for this facet. The real challenge when you're modeling a stone is getting these 8 planes to be true planes and in an attractive relationship. Yeah. Okay. I would like these to be a little smaller, that to be a little bigger. We're working in 3D now. So every time I make a change, to make this wider, I have to make that narrower, and vice versa. So I will play with it once more. It's important to see that I am not hesitating to change if I don't like something. Bring that back to here. Surface extrude straight. Direction, de-enter and end. Make it overlong. Right C-plane, extrude. Make it overlong. Front C-plane, extrude this curve. Make it overlong. Trim. Trim. Go ahead and draw my, I'll go ahead and mirror this here and the other way. Trim. Trim. Okay, I got everything I need to draw the facets. End, mid, end, mid, end, mid, end, mid. And that's sufficient. Trim. Mirror the finished facets. Okay, I think that's a pretty good compromise. Table. It's just a planar surface. Okay. Stars. Surface. Planar surface. Remember, if it's 3 straight sides, it's guaranteed to be planar. Mirror that around. Join. Okay. Now the problem I was having is I did not like this relationship here, which means I have to redraw this original curve and change my girdle outline. That's not a big deal. Curve tools, arc, end, center. So there's end, and midpoint. Okay. I'm just going to draw a straight line from here using near snap now to where I think it would look nice on there. Okay. And that is going to define what my new girdle outline is. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and draw this one, see if I like where it's at as well. End to end, it's kind of skewed, so near. I prefer that. Okay. So, redrawing the girdle. End. Mirror that around. Mirror it and join it. Okay. Now I'm doing what I was going to do earlier, and that's make a planar surface out of it. Even though we don't use that planar surface, the surface is easier for me to make, easier for me to use in modeling because I can use the edges of it instead of trying to explode and rejoin the curve. You'll see what I mean. Planar surface, surface edge, curve. Same thing. Surface edge, curve. Surface edge, curve. Surface edge, curve. 3 straight sides, always a planar surface. Join those together. Join these together. Mirror. Mirror again. Join. Actually, I don't want the bottom. Join them. Got the rest of it. Because that bottom flat surface in there is just reference geometry. Okay. I don't need any of these curves now. So I'll just drag a window around the whole area and deselect my surfaces and delete. Okay. That's my crown. Now I'm going to do my pavilion. Okay, so there's my length, and I have the same issues to contend with this time. I'm going to have to draw straight lines to extrude my 4 main planes with. Here to here, here to here, and here to here. I'll go ahead and make those extrusions. Surface, extrude, straight, direction, project it to the C-plane, and get the same direction going as I have in the one on top. This one I can extrude from the right, and this one I can extrude from the front C-plane. And do my trimming. Okay. Mirror it around. And do some more trimming. Okay. And then draw our facet lines. Starting with our mains, end, mid, end, and no project. Mid, end, mid, end, end, mid, end, mid, end, end, mid, end, mid, end. Trim away what we don't want. Throw away the curves, and the untrimmed surfaces mirror the finished surfaces around. Join this together. I'll borrow this surface. I'm just going to turn it to the orange layer. And draw surface lines. Edge lines. End. See, it's going to have the same relationship, so the fact that I fixed it on the top makes it so it'll still be attractive on the bottom. Surface, planar surface, edge, edge, line, edge, edge, line, edge, edge, line, edge, sorry, edge, edge, edge. Works as well. Join, join, mirror around. This was just reference geometry, so it can be thrown away now. Join this together. Put the top back on. That is a modeled marquee. Okay. I'm going to select the whole thing, deselect my model just so I can get rid of the extra curves that are floating around. Okay. Now the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to brute the girdle. Stones are faceted at the girdle, but when you actually work with them, even in real life, they don't stay faceted. They brute them. They polish the girdle. Polish the girdle. To brute the girdle is quite simple in the model. I'm going to use my arc end, middle. Mirror it over, just like we drew our stone first time. I'm going to join them. Actually, I shouldn't have technically enter. That should have been closed curve. There. Okay. Just making sure. Alright, I'm going to go into my top view. I don't normally work in the orthographic views, but it's very useful for this. I'm going to do a 2D scale. We talked today in class about non-uniform scale. We know regular scale. 2D scale is the most unused one, but it basically will scale only in one dimension. I only want this to get bigger from the top view. I don't want it to get thicker. Okay? Although, actually, you know what? Yeah, let's let it get thicker too. I'll do a 3D scale. 0, enter. I want to scale the stone until it's just outside of that red line everywhere. Okay. That'll do it. Except for I have a copy yes option, which ruined everything. Make sure it's copy now. There. Okay. So there's my new stone. Quite a bit bigger than it was, really, in some ways. In real life, not much bigger at all, but in Rhino dimensions, it seems much bigger. I'm going to take this surface tools and extrude this straight up as a cutter. I'm going to boolean it, so I want to make sure that the direction of the surface is correct. I want it to point towards what I want to keep. So I'm going to flip it so it faces in towards the stone. Boolean difference, solid. Difference. Delete input equals yes, and enter. And that's your stone with a brooded girdle. And if you ever look at diamonds under a loop, you'll see something very similar to this. You will see girdles that are brooded. Now, ours is a little wabi-sabi. Usually it's very consistent. And here we're missing quite a bit of this facet because of how it worked out. It's okay. We're not looking for perfection. These stones are not for sale. They're our library for you to use when you're modeling your pieces. And there you go. Finished marquee. Okay, end of tutorial. Thanks for watching.